Watch and burn.
Hey everybody, so tonight I want to discuss the only other Richard Devine album that I know really well, and that is Aleamapper. He released this on Schematic way back, and I don't love Richard Devine. If I'm not mistaken too, this was his follow-up release to Lip Switch, which is one of the other two Richard Devine albums that I'm familiar with. And my argument has always been that Richard Devine's music sounds like it was created by AI, way before AI was anything real, anything outside of like the Terminator movies, you know? Because I know it's made by him, and Richard Devine seems like a wicked guy. He worked as a Reznor's programmer back on the Fragile, the recording sessions for the Fragile back in the late 90s. And I've heard a lot of good things about him. I know that he's done a bunch of like sound font collections and whatnot for Sony in that, where he goes around and actually creates like organically based sounds. Like you got to create whatever it is, while he goes out and actually like will walk up in like a highway underpass to record like the sound traffic makes going over a certain pipe or something. So I think he's really cool, and I know he's really invested. But his music is just so cold and so sterile that I've always made the joke that it sounds like you're in the belly of a machine that's slowly dying. And that has never been more true than it is here on Aleamapper. This, he sort of let the whole drum and more traditional beat-focused tracks go, other than, well, no, that's not entirely true, because Step Focus and Vec PR, they get a little more beaty. But for the most part, sort of what I've always said about Devine's music has never been more true on this album, because Aleamapper sounds like you're actually in the belly of some giant beast of a factory that is breaking down and dying. And it's sputtering and stopping and attempting to restart, but you can hear the teeth of the gears kind of being grinded down to a nub, and how it's just so... I would almost argue that this record kind of has a monolithic vibe to it. And it's just so dense, and it's so encapsulating. Like, it's so, like, its crushing sense of mechanical deterioration is just so all-encompassing. And this is the one record from him where I completely believe that he became a machine, or he got inside of a machine and recorded the machine dying. Be a big-ass machine, too, because this record is all over the place. But I still don't love his stuff because it is just too sterile sounding. It's too clinical, and the human aspect has been so removed from his music, which is the point, I know, especially on a record like Aleamapper. And it's clever, and it has its place, but it just doesn't have a place for me. I just don't like Devine stuff. It's just too technical sounding, I guess. It's a good way of putting it. But yeah, this record is amazing, and I actually feel like you're inside, like I said, the belly of some massive machine as it's just collapsing. So out of all of the three releases of his that I am familiar with, this is the one I buy into the most. Seems to be almost like a concept record of sorts, which it's not. But I've always felt like it is a touch of a concept record. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes while I discussed the other record from Richard Devine that I'm familiar with, and that is Aleamapper. Like always, if you like this review or you like this record, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But please, most importantly, don't forget that the world is actually a better place because you are in it. I'm going to go. Have a good night.